In this lesson, we go ahead and refine our lips. So, jumping right in, what we want to do is start sort of refining our shapes. So the first thing that I like to do is cut in the corners of the mouth here so that the top lip overlaps the bottom lip. Now after we've done that, we need to look for our baseline lip image here. So I'm going to take a look at the side there, and I'm just going to see if we're close enough with the shape. And I think the front of the lip could be a little rounder, so I'm going to add a little bit of clay to that. And so now we're going to get pretty close. Again, remember, we're not trying to get it 100%, we're trying to get it 90%. And that's usually enough for us to call it a day. If we can get it closer to 100%, then that's great, but 90% usually does it, so we don't have to worry about it too much. Now you can see I lose a little bit of my detail here, so I'm going to go ahead and just use the pinch tool as a drawing method here and pinch the top of this lip here, and that's really going to allow us to get that real nice soft shape coming back. And I'm going to go ahead and trim dynamic the top of the lip here, and that you can see it kind of delineates where these lines are supposed to end. So I'm going to do that. There we go. So the lips are getting a little bit more drawn in there. And we are lacking a little bit of polygons here. So let's go ahead and recut the middle. And I'm going to do something here that's called the marionette line. So I add that. And this is just so that since we've reconstructed our top lip, we want to make sure that the bottom goes underneath the top lip. And this little marionette line really, really helps because that's sort of how the mouth works. And you can see we end up with those two little bright dots at the end, and that really looks very realistic. So continuing to use my clay brush and my trim dynamic brush, these are my main weapons here. I'm going to go ahead and smooth out the lips a little bit here. You can see that with the lack of polygons, it becomes a little bit more tricky for us to get exactly what we're looking for. But I'm using the standard brush now to just sort of draw in what we call the vermilion border, which is just where the lips are going to be red. Going ahead and smoothing out the lips here. And I'm liking how it's looking on the profile view. I think it's looking fairly strong. I'm going to smooth out a few areas here. You see I have a few indentions on the skin that really make no real sense to be there. So I'm going to go ahead and just smooth them out. And here's a good image for our lips. So as you can see, I'm going to break symmetry now, and I'm going to go ahead and move in and really just look at the image and notice what's different. And you can see why it's so important to have this varied amount of reference, right? I mean, you can see that his lip kind of goes inward, kind of falls on top of the lower lip there. As you can see, it almost looks exaggerated, but that's really what we're aiming for, because exaggeration in the sculpture is really going to make it look more lifelike. It's one of those tips that you pick up when you work with traditional sculpting, is that you're not trying to make the real thing, you're trying to mimic it. As you can see, I already sort of erased the eyes. I wasn't really happy with them. They were distracting me, so I just erased them and filled it in. But this is starting to look pretty good now, I think. And you can see that just by doing a few tweaks here to the lips and the way they're supposed to be shaped, it really makes a difference. And now I'm going to pull this down here because you can see that there's a little bit more overlap. One of the things that a lot of people don't do is they don't break the symmetry on the middle line of the mouth, which really makes no sense because, you don't have a straight line where your mouth opens. So breaking symmetry there is a real easy thing to do, and it just, makes everything change. But, here we go, just smoothing it out. And now pulling it back in with the standard brush, just drawing in the lips. You can see that if you look at the reference very closely, take a look at how his lips become red, and then there's a little white line there. It's not necessarily lighting, it's more of us where the lip stops being red and there's a little bit of skin where no beard grows. That's kind of what I'm drawing in there when I do that standard brush and just pull it out. So this tutorial was very much not just about sculpting, but really showing you these very minute things that you might not be picking up on and trying to explain to you, why it is that I'm doing the things that I am. So I want to be careful here of how I'm going to close my lips. I don't like the planes that I have here. I think I need to pull them back. But remember, his lips did look a little bit strange from the side. So sometimes strange is correct, and there's not really that much we can do. So I'm going to go ahead and just continue adjusting here, filling in the top with a little bit more clay. But overall, these lips are starting to look pretty good. I think we can still tweak them a little bit. You can see I'm even noticing that my nostrils aren't quite there yet. Always coming back to that nose. Then readjusting this without symmetry. Had a little bit of trouble with symmetry. Yeah, but overall, it's looking pretty good. So, tell you what, I think this looks pretty nice. We're breaking symmetry. It's all going well. Let's go ahead and stop here, and I'll see you guys in the next lesson.